sir. Come on up.
How you doing? William Sykes, 21046 Wilson Road,
Yes, sir.
Georgetown. I'm here to want to find out a few things about this development.
Okay.
Okay. Where is their access? I'm sorry, the access to this road. They sent me a letter back in February that they wanted to purchase property off of me and my neighbor.
Okay.
We both declined them. So I want to know how they're getting access into their new development off of Wilson Road.
Well, we'll show you that.
Bottom left there.
Bottom left. See
The bottom left, yes, but they're supposed. The highway department says they're supposed to put shoulders on both sides, so there's passing lanes. They cannot get any land on either side of the road because one is estate owned and the other is other property owned, and we were not giving any up. Okay. So that's how I can say. That's how I'm asking how they get in their access.
We'll get an answer to that question for you here, hopefully. And what else is on your mind?
And then, as the gentlemen were talking about around that, there's a lot of people that deer hunt back in this area.
Right.
Now, when you put this housing development in, they're going to go to DelDOT, all these people that move in from the cities, and they're going to hear the gunfire, and now they're going to want a safety zone of 300 to 400 feet all the way around it. So that closes a lot of this redden forest off to people like me that lived here all my life. So that's why we're looking at we don't need these housing developments around here. I just got one stuck beside me by the same group that I don't want, but I'm stuck with it because I couldn't make the meeting to back it. But this is what I'm saying. And the runoff of the side of this, like these gentlemen were talking about, that's supposed to be wetlands. And the runoff of their chemicals of grass fertilizer and everything else into that pond and everything is going to kill everything over there. So it's up to you people, up to you, sir, and the whole group to come up with a decision. Okay. Thank you.
All right, sir. Thank you. Mr. Hutt, would you like to respond to the entrance question? It's a good question.
I'm going to actually defer. Mr. Boyce has arrived.
Okay.
He's our traffic expert. So I'll ask him to introduce himself to the Planning Commission, not that you don't know him already, and then answer the question. I believe you heard the question that was asked.
How ironic it is that Mr. Boyce was stuck in traffic.
There is some, and before he answers that question, because I'll just sit down and let him answer the question. Certainly, it sounds like it would be, based on the comments we've heard, it would be appropriate to have a hunting notice, similar to the agricultural use protection notice, and I know that the Commission has required that before when a property is developed adjacent to that.
We have, and we certainly would, if this were approved, we most definitely would require a notice as a minimum.
Boyce?
So Drew Boyce with Century Engineering. We've been engaged by the applicant to work them through the DelDOT process of required road improvements associated with the proposal. And so as part of that due diligence effort, we did come up with some conceptual designs associated with the entrance and the road widenings that are in DelDOT's regulation. And so those preliminary designs did indicate the need for some property rights outside of the applicant's control. And so typically how DelDOT handles that process is that a good faith effort needs to happen as part of trying to secure the necessary right-of-way needed for the improvements. So DelDOT requires, initial contact with the property owner, then an appraisal, a good faith offer, a good faith negotiation. If in fact those negotiations fail to come to conclusion, obviously the applicant doesn't have any powers of eminent domain like DelDOT does to be able to secure the property. And so, so typically then it's back to DelDOT for a kind of renegotiation of those required frontage improvements. So we would look to minimize the design, narrow things up as much as we can to pull ourselves off of any properties that are not willing to provide any additional right-of-way needed for the improvements.
All right, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else like to speak in opposition?